Now I want to come straight in with my raw umber and be ready to darken where I need. So I'm going to take a size 8 brush with my, I think I'm going to use ultramarine, I think. I wouldn't normally use 2 blues, but I think the Prussian blue is a little bit too greeny. Let's just see what happens. No, I'll go for violet. That's what I'll use. Violet will dull down the yellow ochre and the raw umber for the shadows because it's an opposite colour. Now the tip of the sable is such a wonderful thing that it will be able to do these spires. So I'm going to come down, just leaving the lights, but you see I can just use it. There's a lovely light in that spire there. Just come down the shape. And all I've got to do is leave the lights on the side of these. All these lovely, beautiful building details just simplified into dark, simple darks and lights. Oh, so entrancing, just dropping colour in. And keeping the colour neater. Now I've come to a light, so I can actually stop and I can afford now to come in with a slightly darker tone for the windows. And this is where I'm going to use my violet. There's just a couple of windows. There's only 2 or 3 floors. You'd think it was higher, wouldn't you? And the violet, again, needs to be just a bit neater. When you're putting a colour into a wet wash, it must be drier. I don't mean dry, I just mean drier than the wash you're going into. Because if you imagine, if you put a wetter wash in, it will start to cauliflower out. The water will start to spread. So you just need to make sure that your wash you're going in with is drier, and then you'll be adding colour rather than creating a back run. Now let's just come along here with this slightly dry brush across the embankment here. And now back onto the form of the building. I love the way these sort of projections of work, I wish I knew the architectural terms, I don't know them, but it's so lovely the way it's designed. I mean, even simplifying it down into its simple structure shows you just how brilliantly, beautifully it's designed. It is a magnificent building. And Big Ben, oh. Let's get this violet in while the wash is wet. And don't forget, you don't have to get it right. You're not rebuilding the Houses of Parliament, so you have just got to create an impression. That's all your obligation is as a painter. I'm using now the Prussian blue for the lovely blue roofs on the top of Big Ben. You never truly know something till you paint it, and it's actually a while since I've painted Big Ben, and I'd forgotten just how lovely a shape she is, or he is. He is, I suppose, isn't it? Yeah. Leave out the clock, of course. But you see how lovely, with the tip of a sable, even a large brush like this, you can do anything, even with a big brush, because you've got absolute perfection in that tip. And we can just use a little bit of violet in under the darks. I'm going to have to put the time on, aren't I? Well, 12 o'clock, midday. And then the detail on the lit sides, because they're lit, much less detail, much less apparent. Even in the photograph you can see how much less apparent it is. But you can just see the shadows cast by the, I wish I knew the architectural terms, the sort of eaves at the various different levels. I feel very ignorant right now. Nothing much detail there. A lovely pale light, just catching the top of that. And then the new buildings at the side, which I'm not quite sure what they are, MP's residences or something, they create a nice foil of darkness against the light of the shaded side of the building. So I can come in with violet and my Prussian blue. And this is literally darkness as a foil. And I bring this down to the top of the bridge, because the top of the bridge is lit. There's also some trees where the top of those trees are lit. And again, my light is from the left. So the trees are lit from the left. In the photograph, you can barely see the light, but you have to obviously remember either what you saw. If you can't remember what you saw, then think, if the light's from the left, then my tree is going to be lit on the left-hand side. And I had a little bit of red down in the boat, so I can bring that in for these red brick buildings at the side, but let it keep running so it isn't too obviously a colour. Let's get a bit of darkness into it as well. And then the light of the trees, I can use yellow ochre, because they're not a major part of the painting, they're just a hint at light. Bit of the violet to create the darkness under the tree. And the roof of the building is, again, another of this lovely sort of blue colour, lit by the sun, and has these strange shapes on it, which I have to admit I'm not very fond of, so I'm not going to make much of them. And we don't really need to make much of that building at all. The light on this side of the roof is a bit darker, so a little bit more tone on that side. And then there's a nice dark tower behind here, which is very useful because it brings out the light on there, on that side there. There's a dark roof in here, a bit of the blue roof in there, a bit of dark roof in here. That dark roof's dark enough. Bit of dark, that's the same dark tower. Oh, I think they're meant to be the same sort of height. That doesn't matter. And then we just need to do this waterline. We've got to make this drip into the Thames. First, I'm just going to tint up the side here where the light is catching, just a bit more colour on there, because it's not white light, is it? And that's a bit of roof there, a little bit of blue on there, because it's not white light. And I'm just going to rub out a bit of tower behind there. And now I just want to make this feel that this building runs into the River Thames. So from this embankment line, re-wet the area. At the same time, just tint this bridge green using the yellow ochre and the Prussian blue. Need it very thin. Prussian blue is very strong. Just use it very thin. Bring out those steps at the side there. Nice dark underside of the bridge. Reflecting down into the water. Also a lovely shadow cast down the side of here. on the side of the steps. And now get this dark side of under the embankment. And I think we want more of that raw umber into the wall. We've got to make this reflection darker than what it's reflecting. In with that violet. Is it the violet we want? Let's have a look. And then just at the waterline itself, get even darker violet and the Prussian blue together. More violet, I think, in there. Keep it warm. A little bit of the don't want a hard edge, so we're doing it wet in wet. Keep it really neat. See how dry? The paint has to be really neat to get that crisp line. I like the way that drifts. That's what I wanted it to do. And now we just need to tint the side of this boat to make sure we can see that it's lit from this side. That's casting a shadow there. That'll cast a shadow over there. And then just a little bit of action in the boat to get rid of something. In fact, we'll rub off. We can't rub it off, it's too wet. Just a little bit of darkness inside the boat itself to give it a bit of depth. And there's a nice bit of red again inside there, which just lift that, bring that forward. And then, we've got to just tint Big Ben with a little bit of ochre. And the side here. And then the top of Big Ben's a bit tilted, I agree, but we can just tilt it back a bit that way. But actually, that's fine. That's my impression. My aim was to catch the golden light. The yellow ochre and raw umber have done that perfectly. And the big brushes and the wet in wet have kept it simple.
Now available on DVD. Try these techniques yourself at home whenever you wish. Today's workshop is now available to order on DVD from the Painting and Drawing channel. For further information and to order your copy, go to www.paintingdrawingchannel.com.